Yeah, I got you. So Arpita is our head of marketing. Swagata is the one who looks at everything, Reddit and Quora. She's the one who works most closely with the platforms, and she's a content writer. Jamie looks at community at MyMuse, so she's a big part of Quora and Reddit for us as well. And I'm leading socials.
And how big a part is Reddit in your social strategy right now?
Honestly, we've not emphasized on it much. Initially, we started it off as like a channel for our beta community, and we've recently just opened it up to the rest of the Reddit community. So just starting out.
Got it. I will also quickly introduce everyone from our side. We have Sakshi, who leads marketing for us. We have Aishwarya, who takes care of growth and retention, and Akshat, who takes care of growth and tech. And Akshat, Aishwarya were pretty curious about the session. That's why they're here. They wanted to learn more about the platform. They haven't had the deep dive about it as Sakshi does. Sakshi is the one who set up Reddit for us on day zero. So she's the one who basically taught Astha and me how to use Reddit and how we can leverage it. And she was like, "You're not doing Reddit. You have to do Reddit." She was like, "Okay, this is 4 years ago." So yes, and I'll set
Amazing.
a very quick context. In fact, Simone, could you help do that? Could you just kind of help us set the context for what this call is about, so everyone knows why we are connecting, why the Manzuri and My Muse teams are kind of doing this call. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, I found Ritesh's post on LinkedIn where he spoke about his strategy on Reddit and Quora and how that helped him strategize his organic revenue growth. And I was really interested. So I asked Sahil Gupta, our founder, to get in touch and set up a call so we could do a bit of a knowledge exchange. And that's why we're here.
Okay, awesome. Uh, our team was a little curious that why are we doing this knowledge transfer session with MyMuse? Because we uh, we got a lot of traction through Reddit, and I'll be very honest. I am sure that you will be able to do a better job than we have done. So you got a bigger team, but that's not the point. The point is that it's for like Sahil and I started MyMuse and Manzuri respectively for a certain mission, and a lot of people think marketing on Reddit is about gaming the community and it's about finding workarounds and loopholes. But as we kind of get into this, you'll realize it's about genuinely helping the users and genuinely adding value. And that's exactly what this collaboration is about. Um, cool. I will get started. I'll share my screen and we'll get started.
Amazing.
So this is mostly covering Reddit and not Quora as much. There are two or three reasons for that. We think that Quora is quite saturated. Firstly, when we started working on Quora at that time, there were very few brands, and we are one of the categories which is, when it comes to new category creation, sexual wellness and related products is extremely new. So if it's saturated for that, then I'm sure no other brand would be able to kind of learn from that. And the other reason is that it's very specific to just India, because Quora is majorly India. Outside India, people don't use Quora as much. And it's not as replicatable, scalable. You can't really come up with a process around it. It's well, honestly, it was a lot to do with luck and where we started off. And at that time, I don't know if you guys know or not, Manzuri started 1 year before MyMuse did. So at that time, there was absolutely nothing on Quora or Reddit. So we had that advantage when it came to Quora as well. So we'll be keeping most of the interaction around Reddit, but would be happy to take questions around Quora as well. Like as we get into it a little bit later. So we have a lot to thank Reddit for. Manzuri is we've always been bootstrap brand which is very lifestyle led and founder led. We're not doing this. We're doing this to genuinely help a certain community and a certain few thousand users. It's not the goal and ambition isn't to become a multi-billion-dollar company. That's very secondary for us. And Reddit, we're extremely grateful to it because thanks to Reddit, we were able to find who our exact users were and what they want. And it really helped us build a lot of features and products for Manzuri. I'll be showing you how, the two correlate. So here are some, just to start off with, these are the numbers that Manzuri has done from Reddit. I'll also tell you how we were able to track that. And this is not monthly or anything. This is overall in the last 2.5 years. These are the numbers we've generated overall. So we've got about 2,000 users, and our website average order value is 3,500. And I'm guessing my users would also be around the same, maybe possibly a little lower because you have lubricants and your card game. So it's possible for it to be a little lower. But if you compare it to our Reddit user AOV, which is 5,500 rupees, so Reddit users spend much more on Manzuri compared to the average Manzuri user. The average repeat user rate for Manzuri is, so every user that comes to us buys 1.3 times. So roughly 30% people would come back to us. But when it comes to Reddit users alone, it's much more. So just these, this data is enough for me to conclude that Reddit is pretty awesome, has been pretty awesome for Manzuri. And I have spoken to some other founders in the West also who've leveraged Reddit to grow their brands. I'll show you some case studies of especially one SaaS founder, which has done a great job in finding their users through Reddit. And they also have something very similar to say. Gender wise, Reddit is a little different. Females are a little lesser on Reddit compared to other platforms. So it's kind of the opposite of Instagram. Instagram is 60-40 female to male, and Reddit is the other way around. So for brands which have a predominantly female audience, it's very key to get the right subreddits. We'll get into what subreddits are, etc. in a bit. Setting some structure. The first 20-30 minutes are just going to be like a crash course on what Reddit is, how it works, what Reddit users are, and then we'll get into actionable steps. And before getting into actionable steps, we can kind of take questions around the platform and more questions about Reddit and how it's different from other social media platforms. So this is how Reddit helped us in our initial journey. So in the first, out of the first 500 orders we got in the first year of launching, most of them were from Reddit and Quora. It gave us quite a big confidence boost. We were able to find out what content users are talking about on Reddit, and we were able to kind of, whenever we created social media posts out of questions which Redditors are asking, it did quite well for us. Obviously, when you're going to Reddit users are very brutal. They don't take any kind of bullshit. So if they see through promotion or marketing or spam, they're going to call you out for it. And if, let's say, a user orders through Reddit and they don't have a good experience, literally all Reddit users are going to know about it. So you cannot, like, you cannot risk it. You need to be very airtight and risk proof when it comes to Reddit. So it forced us to improve our packaging, improve the testing and quality of our product, and improve our customer service as well, because we knew that if we disappoint a Reddit user, we're pretty screwed. And the most important thing which helped Manzuri was that the initial orders we got from Reddit is what allowed us to validate our business, allowed my co-founder Astha to leave her job and join Manzuri full-time. So just a quick recap. I left my job 4 to 5 months before Astha did. And then we were waiting for us to get some initial traction, make a little bit of money. And that's when it was decided that Astha would also be leaving. So she left. We moved to Pune, got ourselves an office space there. And none of this would have been possible without Reddit. I'm sure we would have figured something else out had this not happened. But at least in our journey, it's played a very big role for us. This is kind of like a overview about how I use Reddit in my personal life and how millions of users do the same thing. And this is something I think a lot of founders and a lot of marketers are not aware of. Before that, I'll go to my Google Meet and I'll try to understand how many of you use Reddit regularly. Like, would you call yourself a Reddit power user? Anybody here? Could you raise your hands? Okay, nobody. None of you use Reddit. Okay, that's very interesting. Because as marketers, so firstly, as consumers, Reddit is super helpful.
Yeah.
Anything you're looking for, the answer that you will get on Reddit will be the most unfiltered, raw, and authentic answer. So that's like, even if I was not a business owner, if I was just a regular user, I would be addicted to Reddit, which I am. And as a marketer also, whenever I need to do research and I need something which is not paid or not, okay, when we look for, I'll just give you an example. Let's say I'm looking for, and this is like a real example, right? So I want to have the best ramen in Delhi, in Mumbai. So I will never Google it. I will Google it, but I will add Reddit as a suffix at the end of it. And this is something I do for all my searches. I don't use Google at all. I have, I can't remember the last time in my life that I have used Google without using the word Reddit. And the reason is these are all unpaid, these are all real users. Whereas if I just type best ramen in Mumbai, I will get Google my business listings, and then I'll get your LBB, and I'll get all these other commercial platforms which are mostly paid, curly tails and stuff like that. And I don't absolutely trust them, and Reddit users also do not trust them. So this is just how, again, not just me, could be buying ramen, could be gifting something for your parents, could be researching on the best iPhone, best car, anything. Reddit is how we use it, is how we get our answers. So this would be perhaps for the people on this call, it may not be new information, but there are millions, and these, it's not like thousands, it's millions. We'll get into the statistics of Reddit in a while, and you'll kind of understand what is the scale that we're talking about of people using this mechanism to find answers to what they're looking for. So it's not just about consumer product. It's not just about purchasing stuff. It's about relationships. It's about parenting. Any information I need, I will go to Reddit. And again, I'm not trying to, extrapolate my personal journey and tell you that just because I use Reddit like this, other people also will use Reddit like this. This is literally how 50% of Americans use Google, by the way. Reddit is 50% of Reddit's traffic comes from America. And even though India is the third largest Reddit market, it's just about 8 to 10%, which is also quite a lot. But yeah, this is standard. And once we get more into data, you'll realize how this trend is going to catch on, and how more and more people over the next few years are going to use this exact journey to learn about products, about what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, etc. This is something that also happens on Reddit a lot. Sometimes, even when you search without using the suffix Reddit. So like over here, if you see, I'm consciously typing whatever my search query is, followed by the word Reddit, because I'm a Reddit user and I only want Reddit related answers. However, if you look at this question, how do I ask my boyfriend to go down on me? In this question, there's no Reddit suffix added, but still Quora and Reddit would rank on the first two positions. And that just shows that if your answer or post or comment has enough traction on it, it will rank on Google for even non-Reddit users. And non-Reddit users also trust Reddit. It's not that they don't trust Reddit. I'm sure the people here who've kind of not raised their hand on whether they use Reddit or Quora, you've also, like, it's not that you never go to it. And please correct me if I'm wrong. When you're searching, you would also eventually somehow land up on Reddit at least once a month or twice a month.
For
It's not
sure.
Yes.
right. That's just because it's
Yeah.
very big on Google search. So it happens.
It's great for recommendations for sure.
Right. Um, Now there are some intangibles, uh, and optimizing for Reddit SEO is entirely different from optimizing for regular SEO. So Reddit is not just a social media platform. Reddit has to be used as a combination of social and search. The teams working on Reddit, you should, like, especially the content writer that is working on Reddit should not just be a part of the social media team. That same content writer should have a very intimate relationship with your SEO team as well, because there's a very big overlap. I'll also show you how there's an overlap between Reddit and performance marketing, and how you can kind of leverage that for creating ideas and content for performance marketing, reduce the effort it takes to test performance marketing creatives, etc. We'll get into that a little bit later. The biggest advantage of Reddit is that if a Reddit user has spoken about it, I will trust it way more than anyone else writing about it. Maybe, it would be equivalent to an authority writing about it, just because of how authentic I know it will be for sure. I would rather trust a Redditor compared to a random stranger any day of the week. So when you rank on Reddit, you are piggybacking on the trust of the Reddit community. That's like the biggest advantage. Second reason is brands right now don't know how to use Reddit. It will take a while for them to figure it out. It's a journey, and there isn't enough education around it. So as a result, you will have less competition in the market. I'll talk about some more barriers to entry actually uh, over the next few slides, so you'll understand how it's not everybody's cup of tea. You do need one or two people who are like very dedicatedly looking at this. And with us, it was mostly set up by interns in the first 6 months, and whatever traction we got, 80% of it was done just by interns. So the people on this call and other people watching this, it's not something for which you need very specialized skilled resources. In fact, it's way easier compared to organic social. You don't need to know Canva, you don't need to know designing, you don't need to know video editing. All you need to know is about the product, about your users, and be half decent at writing content. So the barrier to entry technically is very low, but people don't know about it, and as a result they still they screw up Reddit. Most brands screw up Reddit, and hopefully after after the next 30 minutes, brands watching this should hopefully not screw up Reddit. And once you rank on, it takes you very little time to rank on Reddit on a certain keyword compared to ranking on Google for the same keyword. So it's much easier to rank on Reddit for something if you do it very consciously compared to regular SEO. Here are some Reddit stats. So Reddit has about 40 million active users compared to 2.2 billion on Instagram. So it seems that it's just 1/4 the size of Instagram, which doesn't really instill a lot of confidence. But when you realize that 99.99% of Reddit traffic comes from organic search, then you will realize the difference in the intent of these users. Everybody understands that social media is very push based and organic search is very pull based. So these are users actively searching for this thing. So even though the number is 1/4, the relevancy is so high that if you're able to rank for this, the kind of reaction you will get from your customers, if you're able to build trust and do storytelling correctly, will far outweigh what you will do on social media. And of course, you cannot compare it to ads when it comes to scale, but in terms of ROI, we personally have not seen anything which could give as high as ROI as Reddit can. It's the sixth most visited website in the world. In fact, if you look at the top websites of the world, you can see that Reddit overtook Pornhub as the sixth most largest website just last year. It's even ahead of Twitter, Yahoo, Bing. So that again just adds to the strength of Reddit as a platform. And it's pretty interesting how we, as marketers, we don't even consider it as a platform. If you look at your top 11 over here, you'll realize TikTok is not here, right? Even if TikTok was here on, let's say, okay, I'll just ask a very simple question to all marketers. If TikTok was legal in India, would you be using TikTok or not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
It would still be much lesser, in terms of Reddit when it comes to the popularity and when it comes to website traffic. And that's the kind of mindset switch I would like other brands to also get on board with, that just because a platform is not visual and just because there aren't videos, it does not mean that it's a bad platform. It's the exact reason why it's such a powerful and strong platform. So okay, I'll get back to the statistics. All content on Reddit is UGC, which is a very big deal because brands are not creating content for Reddit. They don't know how to do that. They try to do it, they fail at doing it, then they stop doing it. And as a result, all the content on Reddit is UGC compared to Instagram, where if you remove all the brands, you will probably reduce 30 to 40% of the Instagram pages and traffic, etc. The last point is my favorite, which is when it comes to learning about new products, 82% of Gen Z users trust Reddit. While this is an American survey, there has been no Indian survey like this. First thing we understand is that we do copy the West when it comes to user behavior. So if 82% of Gen Z users are using Reddit to make a purchase decision in the US, uh, that trend will for sure come to India. If you speak to an average 20-year-old and you ask them whether you use Reddit or not, most hands are going to go up. So if you're a brand which is optimizing for younger population, Reddit is going to be pretty big for you. Um, Now, before we get into how Reddit works, are there any questions that I can answer around what we've discussed so far?
I'm not sure if you'll cover this later, but in general, I was curious about the point that you had mentioned earlier as to how SEO strategy for website and SEO strategy for Reddit is different.
Mhm.
Like if you're going to cover that later, we can go into that, or we can.
Sure.
I'll have a
Let's take this up at the end
yeah,
of the call. While I'm not
for
covering that
sure.
in detail, but I'll be happy to answer some questions
Yeah.
about that at the end of this call.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah.
Um, so why is Reddit so authentic? This also brings us back to the barriers to entry. Why is there a slightly higher barrier to entry for Reddit? So there's something called karma points, which Reddit has. And karma point is basically internet points or internet tokens that users receive for providing value on Reddit. So if I write a post on Reddit, if I have a comment on Reddit, if I get an upvote, I will get karma points based on my actions. So for example, for every upvote I get, I will roughly get one karma point. And upvote is basically a like that a user does, and it's not as easy to get a like on Reddit as it is to get on Instagram and other platforms. You need to provide genuine value to your users. So you need to accumulate karma points before you can do any kind of posting. So for example, if you reach out to a Reddit moderator for on a subreddit and you tell them, I want to do XYZ activity with you, and we want to speak about our brand, or we want to introduce something new to the market, they will look at your Reddit profile. They will see how many karma points you have. If you don't have enough karma points, they will get to know that you are not a frequent Reddit user. You're just a new Reddit user or a marketer who's trying to sneak their way into the Reddit community, and they won't be nice to you. However, if you have high number of karma points, it's visible. You can go to any profile, any user's profile, and see how many karma points they have. If you have high number of karma points, your value just increases exponentially. The good part about karma points, it's not like followers. So on Instagram, the only way you can measure the authenticity of a user is how many followers they have. But you don't get followers in exchange of helping others. You get karma points in exchange of helping others. And that's the difference between Reddit and Instagram. Um, let's cover subreddits. Subreddits are basically the equivalent to Facebook groups or Instagram pages, you can say. Just to be a part of certain subreddits, you need a certain number of karma points. You cannot. So the goal of a subreddit is not to increase the number of followers it has. Unlike Instagram, the goal of a subreddit is to have people who can help each other and take advice from each other and are very relevant for each other. Which is why there are so many subreddits. Even just to become a part of those subreddits, you need to accumulate enough karma points. Otherwise, you won't even be able to become a part of them. And if you do become a part of them, you cannot post anything there because you don't have enough karma points. So they're very strict that way. And that's kind of what makes it so extremely authentic. You cannot just game the system. Even if you're a marketer, even if you're constantly promoting stuff, but simultaneously you're adding immense value to users, that's fine. You are allowed to do that because you have helped enough users to be able to deserve to promote your product. You cannot just get up one day and be like, oh, I want to promote my product on Reddit. The Reddit community won't take that well. Now, the other advantage of Reddit is that the posts are permanent. What does that mean? It means that on Instagram, I do a post today. Within a few weeks, at the most a few months, the organic reach of that post disappears completely. However, on Reddit, that post will remain there forever. In fact, the more comments are added on a Reddit post, the more time it will remain on the first page of Google. and it will keep on getting traffic consistently and regularly. So a Reddit activity you do today will be relevant for you 4, 5, 6 years later as well. Uh, and that is, again, the ROI on effort on Reddit is way more, because a social media post will give you traction just for a few weeks at best. But Reddit, while it may not get millions of users instantly, it's there to stay, especially if you do it well. Three main ways users discover Reddit posts: browsing, notifications, and searches. Browsing is basically just like people doom, you'll just keep browsing Instagram, you'll keep browsing Twitter. A lot of users do that for Reddit also. And I will keep getting stuff which I am interested in. So if I open my own Reddit uh, app right now, I will see all the posts that I have interacted with, that I'm interested in, very similar to how social media, how Instagram would work. And then I get notifications directly on trending topics. So I can sign up for topics, not certain Instagram handles. So on YouTube, you can press the bell icon and you can subscribe to notifications from a certain user or a certain YouTube handle and influencer you trust. But on Reddit, you do it per topic. So every time a post is going viral on a certain topic, I will get notified about it. And that also increases the quality of how Reddit users interact with Reddit. And then, of course, searches, simple Google search, which gets the maximum number of traffic on Reddit. About karma points, they say, this is from the official Reddit website. Uh, the goal is not to collect karma points. The goal is to help people and provide value. The more people you help, the more karma points you will collect. And the best part about this is you don't have to post about what you are selling. So let's say, let's take Sakshi's example. Sakshi is the one who reached out to the Reddit moderators on our behalf. And she had enough karma points. However, before this post, Sakshi had never spoken about sex, relationship, wellness, pretty much ever. But still, she had enough karma points. And the reason for that is because she used to talk about psychology, she used to talk about food, she used to speak about other things on Reddit. And what that did is it increased her individual authority as a member of the Reddit community. And then when she reached out on behalf of Manzuri, or even if she reaches out on behalf of another business that she probably starts in the future, the Reddit community will receive her with open arms, because they know that she cannot have 5,000 karma points or 2,000 karma points without being a Reddit user for so many years and without helping so many people. Any questions that I can answer so far, or should I move on?
I do have a question actually. So you mentioned how Sakshi used her own account, right? So at the moment, we're using a brand account. So would you recommend using a brand account which has like My Muse India and our branding, or a personal account that we start, from scratch?
Personal account for sure. I will
Hmm.
get to this piece a little bit later, at what kind of personal accounts to use
Hmm.
and what is the best way to use a Reddit personal account. But it has to be a personal account. Your brand
Understood.
account should be there only for your existing customers. You should not be using your brand account to interact with people who are not yet your customers.
Understood. And just a follow-up question on that would be, um, would you recommend using multiple personal accounts or focus on one and build karma on that?
So I would recommend multiple, and the
Hmm.
reason for that is it would help you. I'll get to that in a while. You'll
Sure,
understand why multiple is the way to go. Okay.
sure, cool.
So Reddit users 101. What are Reddit users like? They spend more time on Reddit and Twitter than Instagram. This is like a very common pattern with a lot of Reddit users, especially the super users. They're absolutely repulsed by everything fake. They do not trust Google search results or most of the things they see on the internet. They're skeptics, pessimists, conspiracy theorists. If a social political revolution had to be started in the world, it would mostly start out of Reddit. Um, they're extremely supportive for their community members. So the same post done by someone who has 5 karma points and someone who has 2,000 karma points, the person who has 2,000 karma points, it will receive great enthusiasm. They will be very celebratory about that post. But if it's like a new Reddit user who's not really answered anything and is just promoting something, they'll just ignore it. They may not be brutal to you, but they will just maybe ignore the post. They're very good at detecting lies and inauthenticity. um, they do a lot of research before making a purchase, but that research is mostly on Reddit only. It's like if I'm traveling, I only ask questions related to where I'm going, what places to visit on Reddit, because every place has a subreddit, and I just want to know from Redditors what they do. Because I know for a fact that if I'm traveling to, let's say XYZ country, and I Google it, it would be sponsored or paid in some way or the other. There is no way in today's world something on the first page of Google, second page of Google would not have a commercial motive behind it. So that's super important. They're mostly nerds, and I say nerds, not video gamers and tech enthusiasts. Nerds is basically anybody who goes really deep into something. So they don't like superficial information. They will ask questions which are super deep, and they will go really deep into a topic to understand more about what you want and where you're coming from. Last would be okay, no, there are a few more. They're more educated. So in terms of the general level of education, undergraduate, postgraduate, etc., they're a little bit more educated than the average Instagram and Meta user, especially in a country like India, where tier 3, tier 4 has so many users on Instagram and Facebook. But Reddit is, because Reddit is very uh, text heavy and not visual, and it's not easy to create content on Reddit. You need to, and of course it's English first. That's a little unfortunate, but it's completely English dominant. Reddit has no vernacular regional presence that I am aware of. So because of that, it just excludes a very big population, and that's the reason why the 400 million people on Reddit are really high quality users. If you win a Reddit user, you will win them over for life. They will be loyalists for a very long time, which you could see from the data that I presented for Manzuri. They buy double the average user on our website, and they spend more money over there as well. And this is the same point as above. They love depth of content more than anything else. If you can convince a Reddit user that you know your shit, you know what you're talking about, they would be like, they would be sold on what you're telling them. um, so yeah, now the next part of this is basically uh, Reddit is like the Agni Pariksha and litmus test for any brand and founder. If you can succeed on Reddit, you will know for sure whether the brand you're building is worth building or not. Especially for newer founders, for the MyMuse team, this will not be as relevant. However, what the MyMuse team can leverage Reddit for is to strengthen their reputation in the market, and to bridge any gaps, and to establish themselves as an authority on in the sexual wellness niche. There's so many different brands coming out there, and it's a very big opportunity for any brand to go to Reddit and dominate it from an education point of view. Just keep helping users, keep giving them information that they want, and indirectly you will be rewarded in the form of orders. Yeah, so before I move on to like what you should do and what you shouldn't do, I'll this was the theory part of Reddit, which is now more or less over. Is there anything I can answer for you all?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, good to know.
So this is the part I think that you all were waiting for. How do you actually do Reddit? Now, subreddits are, like I mentioned, they are the more authentic version of Facebook groups. There are so many subreddits where you cannot even join those subreddits if you're not a Reddit, if you've not been a Reddit member for a certain period of time. Something to note about subreddits is the smaller the subreddit, the more active it will be. The first step I would recommend for you would be to create a list of the most relevant subreddits for your brand. Make sure it has a mix of global, like large subreddits which have maybe more than 100,000 followers. These would be India Talk Sex, subreddit Sex, Ask Women. Non-monogamy would be quite broad for MyMuse, but non-monogamy India would be very relevant for MyMuse. So just figure out what kind of subreddits you want to be present on. Manzuri has slightly more, in terms of communication, my news is a little bit vanilla and more inclusive compared to Manzuri. And when I say inclusive, I mean from the point of view of most of our users are hardcore enthusiasts. They would be more into activities like bondage, and they would be a little bit more kinky compared to what my muse users would be. But so you can just have like slightly different subreddits on the basis of that. This is the part which you were asking, the next 2 3 slides, Arpita. You
Yeah.
need to create a funnel of your users, my muse's users, or users in our industry. So the top of the funnel would be all sex positive users. At the next stage would be users willing to experiment. Then at the next stage would be, these are the users which understand that a toy will elevate their experience. Then you keep going down, these are users which actually want to buy a toy. They have decided that they want to buy a toy. At the even more bottom would be users who have previously bought, not necessarily from your brand, but who've bought in general. And then you will have your existing customers. So this is like how you create a funnel. And then the next step would be, you will tie up your funnel to different subreddits. So every stage of the funnel that you think you will find your users at will have will be present on different subreddits. So users who are willing to experiment would be present on subreddit pleasure, but the general all sex positive users could be present on subreddit non-monogamy. And you'll just have to kind of create this map for your own brand, which is, and this concept is universal. I've actually shown here for the same process for a brand which is not a sex toy brand, not a sexual wellness brand. And this is, for example, a plant-based protein brand. Even for them, the process would be exactly the same. So this is more of a plug and play process, using which we can understand what ICP to target at what stage of the funnel. And the next thing you will need to do is, you will need to create 1 to 2 Reddit profiles per ICP. So over here, if you see, you have 1 2 3 4 5 different ICPs that you're looking at. So I would recommend starting with 1 per ICP. But even if you don't want to have a separate profile for the bottom 2, it's okay. You can have 3 distinct users for each of the top 3 ones, and for the bottom ones you can maybe continue using your brand's Reddit handle. And what this would do is, okay, over here, one of the things that right now you're missing is a founder's Reddit profile. This is the most important part of your whole Reddit strategy. Your founder needs to be accepted by the Reddit community. While I'm not saying that Sahil or Anushka need to do this on their own, but one of you needs to do it on their behalf. Because if the founders are not loved by the Reddit community, your brand will struggle to kind of gain traction the way it ideally should. It's possible, but it's not recommended. So this is the founder of a really big company. They do about $2.5 million a month in revenue. And this guy is wild on Reddit. It's a SaaS company. He's been, look at his top Reddit post. His top Reddit post is, so it's a SaaS company which helps e-commerce brands. Just give me a second. Sorry, that's my dog.
No worries.
This company helps e-commerce founders, and the SaaS company helps e-commerce founders. And just look at the post that he's made, which went pretty viral. I mean, it's got 676 upvotes and 241 comments, which is extremely high for Reddit. While maybe for social media, for your Instagram, you may think it's not that big a deal, but for Reddit, this post alone, I can estimate that it, firstly, look at the subreddit that he's posted it at. It's 3.8 million members. So he had the confidence to go and do a post on a subreddit with 3.8 million members. Once this post exceeded about 100 upvotes, every single member of this community would have gotten a notification. So that is a very big amount of people getting a notification of this post going viral. And over here he's just spoken about the importance of certain tools in e-commerce, and how do you he's basically established himself as an authority. uh, and this really helped. Okay, let's just go a little back. Why was he able to do that? This guy's been active on Reddit. Think I'll be able to see. So he's been active on Reddit since 2019. And this shows that he's got a lot of authority here. He has this much comment karma, which means his comments have gotten him this many upvotes. His posts have gotten him this many upvotes. So stuff like that. So this is like really important. And for smaller founders, for smaller brands, it is not that difficult to do it on your own. But for slightly larger brands, the social media team has to pick it up. If the content and communication is not founder led on Reddit, you will not be able to build that connection with them. In your case, maybe I would actually recommend using Anushka's profile compared to Sahil's profile. I just think my muse's mission and vision would align much better if Anushka is the face of your brand on Reddit compared to Sahil. But that's just what I think. And then second is a team member's Reddit profile who is already an active user. So if you could kind of spread the word around within your company, especially in your tech team, it's possible you'll find someone who is a Reddit user. Just try to take access of their Reddit profile and do some posting from there. If they allow that, that would also be like, it would be a quicker way to get there. uh, Either way, even if you're building a brand new Reddit profile, it absolutely does not matter. It will take you just 2 months at the most to build enough cred through Reddit. All you need to do is help users, provide enough value through any topic. It does not need to be sexual wellness. You only need to speak about sexual wellness when you are posting something. But when it comes to accumulating Reddit karma, just talk about whatever interests you as a person. So your social media team, whatever 1-2 people are working on this, they should just whatever their strengths are. It could be sports, could be beauty, could be business, whatever it is. Just speak about that, comment about that, and build Reddit karma for yourself. Um, it should not be gyan. Whenever you're commenting on Reddit, it should ideally not be preachy. It should be very personal and extremely story driven. So, and the more personal the story, the more authentic Reddit users will feel that this is real. So even if it's a fake story, it's okay as long as you're going really deep into it and you're making a story out of it. I would recommend not to do any posting just for the sake of posting. It should be very story centric. Just always keep that in mind. Um, Next is
Ritesh,
yes, yes.
sorry, I just had a question. Like, I was just curious actually. You said you would recommend us make an account for Anushka on Reddit, right?
Yeah,
So I just want to know like the reasoning as to why.
sure. Isn't my muse mostly selling to women? Is
We're
it
doing
70% of your audience female?
not 70. We have a almost
Oh, that's
equal,
interesting.
yeah, we have
Got
an
it.
almost equal split.
Whichever of Sahil or Anushka you think would have a better story. So for
Hmm.
Manzuri, you've read through some of our articles and PR, you'll
Hmm.
realize everything is around Astha. And the reason for that is she has a more powerful story, a more compelling story than I do. My reason for starting Manzuri was I observed the problem of the pleasure gap between my friends and in my social life, and I saw it as a business opportunity. However, for Astha, she experienced issues relating to the pleasure gap in her personal life, and she faced discrimination and other related issues because of her experiences. So it tied more strongly to her journey, and as a result, we have used her story more compared to my story. So if on Reddit
Hmm.
we had to do authority building from a founder led angle, it would be very less from my angle. My authority building would be purely from a business angle. For her, it would be from a storytelling angle. Her would get us more. customers, users, mine would get us more, maybe investors, maybe hiring. It would help us in hiring. So it depends what your objective is. You can, yes, Arpita.
No, no, finish. I just raised so that you don't.
No problem. I'm done.
Okay.
You can ask.
In terms of the brand story and like matching the brand story, the customer base, and the founder story, I think their story together as a couple makes a lot of sense because even in our purchasers, we have a lot of majority of our customers are people either like buying for their partners or buying for themselves as a couple. Uh, Do you think that's a good way, or do you think that's too complicated to be able to like build karma on or find the right kind of content to write on?
I think that's possible. It's complicated for sure. It's way much easier if it's led by one person, because
Okay.
you will be able to, more people will be able to relate to you directly. You will be able to connect at an emotional level with more people, but it's not impossible. A
Mm,
Reddit handle saying Anushka and Sahil, or whatever, couples have wedding names, etc. Whatever that is, uh, that could also work, but it should be like a secondary thing. It would be better if there is like
understood.
one handle for Anushka and one for the couple angle.
That makes sense. Yeah. Super interesting.
Thank you. Okay, AMAs. I'll show you something. Now, let's say that I go to Manzuri Reddit and I just search this. Now, we have done something that is called AMA, which is Ask Me Anything, which is basically a way in which you can tell the Reddit community, that this is my journey and I am here to answer all your questions. I will be 100% honest. I will be 100% vulnerable. Uh, Please ask me whatever you want. It will be unfiltered and I'll just speak my heart out. And that's what an AMA is about. So I'll show you some, before going to Manzuri AMA, I'll show you some really interesting AMAs. I Right. So I've cheated on my boyfriend and I have no regrets. Ask me anything. And these, like, it's got, okay, interesting thing is it has 0 upvotes. So Reddit users are not at all encouraging this person, but it has 79 comments. And if this gets viral, people will get notified. People on this thread will get notified, of course, but it's a very powerful way. Okay, let's look at something else. I sold my startup AMA. Okay. So look at this one. Okay, interesting. This one also has 0 upvotes. It has 47 comments. So basically, not having upvotes is it shows that there is something that the users did not really like about it. And what I think the reason for this is that there's no value that this person has provided in any way. I'll just compare the Manzuri AMA that we did. Okay. So over here, we've got 325 upvotes, 116 comments. And this was 3 years ago when I Am Beshram was the only, website selling products in India. So at that time, it was pretty different. And we got very good insights. So just a second. So these are the questions that users wanted to know about us. So these are the 3 questions, most upvoted one. Then uh, appreciation, um people just being vulnerable, and these are stuff which gave us ideas for a lot of social media posts. But what you will realize is you can do an AMA in different subreddits. So over here we've done an AMA in a subreddit called Reddit India, and this has 2.4 million members. So the moment this went viral, the moment it reached maybe 100 odd comments or 100 odd upvotes, every user would have gotten a notification saying trending in Reddit India. So this is like getting the moderators to agree to this. Is I honestly don't know how Sakshi did it. Maybe she can shed some insights on how she convinced the moderators to do that. But if I go to some other AMAs, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've done more than 10 AMAs, or maybe even more, we've done a lot. We've done maybe 20 odd AMAs in the past few years, but this is a Hyderabad based AMA. We are Team Manzuri, ask us anything. And the AMA is different, by the way. The topic here is different from the topic we had on subreddit India. Then we have something called, this is Pune, Men's Lib India. So this is men's lib is basically men's libido, etc., etc. So over here also we've, and it's got very few members, but the subreddit, let me see how many. It's still got like okay traction. It's not that it, but just look at how the AMA is customized. Over here, the theme is men and sexuality. So we've taken a subreddit and we've combined it with what we think will be relevant for that subreddit, and we've told them, okay, you can ask us anything. And this was so basically for Manzuri, subreddits work the best. I will actually let Sakshi answer how she was able to convince some of the largest subreddits of the country to agree to promote a brand. Please,
Yeah, that
Sakshi.
was my immediate question for you.
Yeah.
Which, so like, how do you pick the right, identify the right subreddits for AMAs? And obviously, how do you reach out to the mods and like get them to agree?
So I'll answer the second question first because it's fairly simpler. You read the rules and regulations of every Reddit subreddit group that you want to kind of participate. And once you know what the rules are, and then you kind of initiate a conversation by sliding into their DMs, the same thing that you do on any other social media platform. And some of the moderators have a short turnaround time, so you're just super active. As soon as they respond, you have to get back to them in less than 30 minutes and just keep the momentum and the conversation going. At that point, I had around 540 karma points, and I was a part of around roughly 71 subreddits. And those were my stats. And just, I knew what the subreddit stood for. So I spent a lot of time going through their older subreddits. I gave them context that, like, hey, I get you. I get what you're doing with your subreddit. And why is my idea unique? Why do I think I can provide value? So kind of talk to them from that space. And they were pretty open enough to kind of engage us. Uh, and once you've kind of hit it off with the moderator and they do a background verification, they check your other socials, and then mutually you agree on a time slot, and you make a couple of posts as it's sort of like a guarantee that they expect from you that, okay, you've posted it, you're legit, your users and your audience are also going to come on their website. So your social media traffic, that is also, if it's a good high quality traffic, that's also another convincing reason for them to kind of engage with you, because you're going to bring that traffic to their subreddit channel, right? And so you just address all of these things, and then you have your argument as to why you should be the one doing that subreddit or just that AMA. Uh, Things like, if Manzuri has already done a subreddit, like a founder focused AMA on our India, perhaps you should go for another angle, because maybe the founder story is something that they've already done. In your case, you would have to find a completely different angle, and that would be a better like a reason for, or that would just be a more interesting opportunity for those moderators also, because they've done these with some of like the biggest people in the industries, and overall in India. So that's just one of the things that you can keep in
And
mind.
to add
And
to what
how do you?
to add
Yeah.
to what Sakshi said, I think if you would have, so let's talk about the men's lib subreddit. If we would have reached out to them saying that we're a sexual wellness brand and we want to do a AMA with you, would you be open to that? Compared to saying we're a sexual wellness brand, we're really passionate about men's libido, men's pleasure, issues related to men's sexuality. We have some great doctors on board, and we would love to do an AMA with you all. For your community. So the pitch is a little bit different, and it needs to be customized as per the subreddit and their needs.
Right. Uh, and in terms of how do you identify the right subreddit, uh, it's a volume game, and it's also about knowing your customers. So a few minutes ago, Ritesh talked about how there are different levels of customers, right? There are people who uh, are enthusiastic about themes around sexuality. There are people who are into exploring kinks. There are people who understand the value that a sex toy can add. Now, all of these people would be interested in various themes. Some people would be interested in relationships, some people in coffee shops, some people in movies, some people might be into literature. They may talk about or want to know about these different themes. And so you kind of try to map their universe. You create the persona, you identify things that they would want to do, and you explore those different subreddits. So they don't necessarily have to be related to sexual wellness. While there will be, so two things you need to do, actually three. One, join all the big subreddits in India, join all the sexual wellness related subreddits, and then join all these alt subreddits which cover different themes that kind of talk about some personality aspect of your user persona. And once you're a part of it, you start engaging. And as we spoke about earlier, you need to have these different personas through which you upvote, downvote, comment, engage. Okay. Bye, Aishwarya.
Bye bye.
Uh,
Sorry.
no, that's okay. Uh, and you kind of engage, right, with through all these different personas. And there, that is where you kind of find the opportunity. Like after you've upvoted, after you've commented, your profile becomes rich. Let's say my account name is called Artifishy. Okay, and I've commented on like 100 posts and I've covered different things. And then one day I go and I post and I talk about my sexual experience. And then after that, I go ahead and talk about, oh, here's mine uses this product and I used it and I thought it was amazing. People on Reddit are super smart. They'll go and check your history. They're going to check what posts you've upvoted, where you've commented, how you've kind of engaged to kind of establish that credibility. At least like I have done that in the past. Call me a weirdo, but I've done it. And so that's the kind of universe you need to build. And through knowing who your customer is, create those personas, and then engage, become part of those different subreddits, create authority, or like it's not even about creating authority, it's about creating those personalities that are commonly popping up on those feeds. And then you make comments related to your particular niche, whether it's a problem statement, whether it's a solution, whether it's a recommendation. Again, like I would say the ratio should be 4:1. 4 times you post, comment, engage in something that's not related directly to my news, and then one can be related to
The
sexual wellness industry.
the category.
Yeah, the category itself. Uh, so to answer your question, how to choose the right subreddit, you need to divide it into three different scopes. One is the top Reddits in the country, everything related to sexual wellness, and then everything related to the scheme of that person's entire personality. Uh,
And
and then just be present.
go bottom up instead of going top down. Instead of trying to aim for subreddit India, go for something which just has 5,000 followers. Do 10-15 AMAs with really small niches, and then once your authority and credibility is established, then the bigger ones would accept you more easily. There's so many like these are the ones which Manzuri hasn't done yet. If you look at, again, the interesting part about subreddits is there is a subreddit for literally everything. If you look for a subreddit for people with autism who want to have better sex, you will find a subreddit for that. Great opportunity to host an AMA with a doctor on a subreddit like that. So just an example of how you can go about this.
Right.
Yes, Jamie.
Yeah, just one question. So, wanted to understand what was the proportion of engagement you guys did on your own subreddit versus like engaging with other
We
subreddits?
don't have
Like,
our own
what would
subreddit.
you?
We don't have our
So
own
it
We don't
was
subreddit.
have our own subreddit.
yeah. So that's what it was, purely engaging with other
Yeah, we
subreddits,
don't have a
not
subreddit called
looking.
Manzuri subreddit.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we're about to finish. So seeding questions. Okay. Now this is where we would slightly deviate from the Reddit philosophy of being 200% honest and authentic. We need to plant questions of our own it has to be done very, very strategically, because if the Reddit community finds you, you're, like I said, it's game over. But it can still be done. You need to ask your customer support team for the most frequently asked questions around your products. You need to ask your SEO team what are the keywords, question related keywords they're trying to rank on. And once you have a list of these, you need to have not your main profiles post these questions. Your main profiles are for answering only. You need to find friends, colleagues. I mean, my news would probably have like 20 to 40 employees, or maybe a little more than that. So just take their phone, download Reddit, ask the question. You can ask questions on a bunch of subreddits without having enough karma points. So just, yeah, you need to seed questions. And when you seed the right questions, you will realize that they will start popping up on organic search results, especially when you populate them with well-written answers. And you will not be the only ones writing those answers. There will be other people also writing answers. Other brands will also be writing answers. So you just need to make sure your story stands out. Storytelling is the most important part here. Unlike ad copywriting, the shorter is not the better. The longer, deeper, the more engaging the content will be, the more personal the story will be, the more engagement it will get. uh, Embarrassing stories work very well. Mostly people will not think of posting embarrassing stories, but if you can post a story where you are claiming to have done something immoral or wrong or embarrassing, that would work well, because that just kind of comes out as more authentic than others. um then this is actions per profile, which is pretty standard. 2 comments per day, 5 upvotes per day, 1 post per week, 1 AMA per month. But you cannot forget about storytelling. It cannot just be, let's just see if we have any comment that we want to do. Let's go and search for buy sex toys in India Reddit. Okay. So let's say we go to the first one, and this is posted on Sakshi. This is not our profile, right? This is a genuine question.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a genuine.
That's not happening.
Right. So over here, this is just something that they have. Now, if you can see, most of them are just simple one word answers, etc. Now, over here, if you're able to figure out, a way to genuinely add value, uh, it would work. So this is, for example, this is not nicely done. I'm not happy with how our team has done it. So someone has written Manzuri, and I don't even know whether this is our team or not. Let me see. This is not our team. We don't have anybody with 5,000 karma. So this is not our team. So it's just a coincidence that this is here. But this is kind of because we have done a lot of, activity on Reddit, which is why organically now we started getting it. But if this was my team that was commenting, the first thing I would do over here is I would write a story like, I ordered from XYZ website. I will name a very bad competitor of mine, Deluxe Toys or Naughty Nights or something like that, right? And we'll tell them that I bought from here 3 years ago. Product did not work. I sent it back. They did not refund me the money. I had a really bad experience. Then I found about Manzuri through a Reddit AMA. Tried it out. Saw their founders' profiles were active on Reddit. Placed an order. Had a great experience. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be just say that I ordered from Manzuri and the product was defective, but the customer service team was amazing. Within 2 days, I got the replacement. They did not even, create any issues. So just stuff like that. That's how we would go about it. We don't have to be the customer service angle. It works very well. It makes it look authentic, because the expectation is not there from a brand to say that I got a defective product from this brand. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to establish our trust and credibility over here. So personal stories would always work best. So this is like just a summary of everything we discussed over here. 10 most relevant subreddits, at least 4 to 5 smaller ones, 2 to 3 medium-sized ones, a couple really big ones. Assign ICPs based on what subreddit is most relevant. Map these ICPs and subreddits. create your Reddit profiles, warm them up, keep it very personal, help the community, keep adding value, leverage AMAs slowly, seed questions, but be very careful about seeding your questions, and make sure you're always keeping your profiles active. And the founder, I missed the founder part in the summary. The founder thing is super important. That will just increase your authenticity of within the Reddit community by a million times. Somebody asked a question. Yes, Jamie.
We
Yeah,
talk about
so
and
just
discuss
wanted
it.
to know how
If
often do you
that
guys like plug
fit
the
in with our
discount
plan
codes
for that
or your links,
particular
and like how do you
if
keep
we
a
realize
track of
you
that?
know what, we're not spending a lot
So
on
we ask an AMA, we'll host the AMA. Once the AMA is completed, once we've got enough traction, we will then plug in our website link and Reddit and coupon code. We will never plug in a coupon code and website link when the AMA is going on, because the moderators don't want that. They don't want us to promote. But once the AMA is finished, 6 months later, we can put in the coupon code over there, link over there. Not even 6 months, just wait for 2 weeks, 3 weeks after the AMA is done. Then you can do anything, because an AMA is there is a duration of a AMA. It's either a 8-hour AMA, it's either a 24-hour AMA. So for that period, you are active. Your social media team is supposed to be active, and in those few hours, people will be asking all the questions. So that duration is pretty important. But after that is done, you plug in whatever coupon code you want and the URL you want. Have a UTM there if you want, and you'll be able to track it.
Got it. So, at the initial start of the presentation, when you mentioned that you guys gained this much of revenue from it, was it all through plugging your discount codes in this way, or was there like a combination of stuff? Because I think that's something we struggle with. We
Only
never know when to plug in ourselves or not.
So we never plug in discount codes and coupon codes and links in comments. That has never happened. We've never done it. Uh, we only have done it in the AMAs that we've asked, and we have sent the link of the AMAs on the comments. So if someone is searching for where can I buy a good vibrator in India, and then somebody will comment, there is this company which did an AMA some time back. Here is the link to their AMA. You can check them out. And then a user will reach our AMA, and over there they'll find the coupon code. So you funnel the traffic to the AMA.
Got it.
delay on
Yeah.
our end. That's
Super interesting. I think so. Similar questions to Jamie's, but what percentage split do you give like priority to like answers that have product plugs versus answers that are just engaging with topic related questions?
We don't talk about products from a promoting angle. So let's talk about my news, right? Let's say someone is saying, should I get the breeze or the pulse? Or someone is
Mhm.
asking, this is actually very bottom of the funnel. Let's say someone is asking, I'm looking for a clitoral stimulation vibrator. Uh,
Yeah.
Please guide me, right? You will not try to nudge them towards one or the other. You just, as a user, will be like, I have used both. I love my toys, and this is what I experienced when I used the pulse. This is what I experienced when I used a similar product that I bought from the US. This is what I experienced when I used the breeze, and I also bought from IM Besharam. It was a similar product, but it was a little expensive, but equally good. So you're being very indirect about it, but you're not promoting anything, you're not pushing anything directly.
Understood. So, just a follow-up to that would be there will be obviously questions that are just about like sexual wellness in general, where we don't want to necessarily plug product, right? So, would you focus on the sexual wellness ones or the product,
So you will
the
have
ones that
different
mention product?
So you will have different profiles answering different questions. So
Hmm.
you will have one profile which would only be sex education, one profile only about product education, not MyMuse product
Uh,
education, but product education in general. And then you would have one profile which would be somebody who's a MyMuse fangirl, and she would
hmm.
very publicly vouching for and evangelizing MyMuse as a brand. And like that should be her personality. That okay, there is a subredditor who has used 20 different MyMuse. You don't have 20 products, sorry. Who's used 5 to 6 different MyMuse products, and she knows everything about MyMuse, and she's been using,
Understood.
maybe she's 35 years old, she's been using products since the past 10 years. Earlier she used to be a I Am Besharam fan, and then after My Muse came, now she's a My Muse bhakt. So just build her persona like that.
But also, having said that, adding to what Ritesh has said, 60% of the content from that profile will still have to be about other themes that are not directly related to sexual
Absolutely.
wellness.
Because
Yeah.
if the
So
only
this
thing she's talking,
40% is, yeah,
if the only thing she's talking about is My Muse and their products, that profile will not get good response. So most
right.
of the time,
And
if you're a real Reddit user, you will talk about everything on Reddit. If I go through my Reddit profile, I talk about travel, I talk about credit. Talk means ask. I will ask about traveling, I will ask about credit cards, I will ask about food, business, and I'll just indirectly promote my products slash services sometimes when I feel the need to do that. I will just quickly see if there's okay. Yeah, there's a last couple of slides. Biggest advantages of Reddit for founders, small business owners, and of course marketers. There's no need of any dependency. You don't need to be a designer, video editor. You don't have to shoot content. The biggest problem with Instagram as a channel. So let's say you're a new business owner. You've just started your business out. You want to get your first 50 to 100 customers, but you don't have a lot of money to spend on ads. Uh, the advice you mostly get is create your Instagram handle, become a small creator, and try to funnel that traffic to your website eventually. But that is so much effort. Reddit is very less effort. You don't have to know anything. You can just start directly as long as you're creating a genuinely valuable product. It puts you in touch with your users and community directly. So you just think like them. And when you're able to think like them, you're able to do better in terms of other marketing channels. It's a great platform to validate new ideas. So if you have enough, uh, let's say you have, let's say Anushka has a Reddit profile which is quite active, and you are planning to launch a new kind of vibrator which nobody really has done before. And if she makes a post that we're trying to launch this product, what do you think about it? Uh, what are the features you would want to see in a product? That post will do very well because she's asking the community for feedback, especially if she's already been active for a while. um, Forces you to improve the quality of your product and customer service team. I've already covered this. The fifth point is something which you all should definitely do. Record your Reddit wins. Speak about, so let's say that you would have different marketing angles. One angle would be best gift for Valentine's Day. And best gift for Valentine's Day, there will for sure be a subreddit called Valentine's Day gift ideas or something like that. And if you can populate that and speak about pleasure products over there, you can just do a screen recording of that, and you can use that screen recording to run it in ads, because users understand that Reddit is powerful. Even the people over here on this call, it's not that you did not know that Reddit is powerful, you just thought it wasn't for you. But we all hear so much about, GameStop, how Reddit has crashed certain stocks, how Reddit is capable of uh, predicting which cryptocurrency will go up. In fact, in cryptocurrency, 5 7 years ago, if you were on Reddit, you could know well before time what is going to happen, what is not going to happen, because Reddit users get to know about things faster. It's a very close knit community. So basically, the point is non Redditors trust Redditors also, because they understand that Redditors are very big skeptics. So if pessimists and skeptics are talking good about your product and you're running an ad with that, it will do well with other people also. um, New ideas for social media content, of course. And it helps you with website optimization, because you will get to know what are the most pressing questions Reddit users are asking. You can take those questions and answer them on your website, in your product descriptions, and in your collection pages, through images or through different features and functionalities. So that is also something that we were able to get some good insights. And then these are just some very common mistakes that people make. Redditors hate spam. If you don't give value, you'll be banned. Redditors don't like lazy marketers. So, you know, it's not that they don't like marketers. If you have provided enough value, you have earned the right to promote your brand or product, and they will not mind it if you're doing that. But if they go to your profile and see that the only thing you're doing is promoting, you will get banned from that subreddit. Redditors hate emojis. No idea why. um, every subreddit is different, so the tone, the persona, the value you're adding, it has to be different for every subreddit. There is no universal uh, tone, voice, or way of communication which will work for all subreddits. Definitely do not post the same content on multiple subreddits. A lot of people do that. Does not work. You will you may not get banned, but you will not get any good response. People will just diss you. They'll be like, why are you asking the same question on multiple subreddits? Just go and ask it over there. uh, don't chase karma points or upvotes. Already covered this. Focus on creating value, and don't put a lot of images, links, or posts. Redditors are actually quite lazy when it comes to certain things, so the community in general does not post images. uh, so if you post images, you will get found that you're not really a power or like an authentic Reddit user. So yeah, that's all we had to share. Let's maybe take the last set of questions.
Yeah, I think this was super interesting throughout. Thank you a lot for doing it. One question I did have was between like asking questions versus answering questions, what is your like main priority?
Answering, because
Answer.
you need to give more value than you seek.
Hmm,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay.
This is super interesting, Ritesh. Thanks. And Sakshi, yeah, this is really, really interesting. Like I want to go back a little bit to my SEO
Yeah, yeah, please.
question. Um, so we do try to like create a lot of content on our own blogs, which with the intention of most of it is like providing value. So like fights in a relationship or like how to enjoy a date or whatever, like a lot of value generating content, but we struggle with ranking that sort of a content. But in general, have you like, is there any trend in terms of what type of content or what type of questions is Google trying to rank via Reddit versus like is there a difference in strategy as to what sort of content should we prioritize on um, Reddit versus our own blogs? Like, I understand everything that you've told me about getting good karma inside of Reddit, but if we have to take it outside of Reddit and figure out like a cohesive SEO plus Reddit strategy, how does that look like in your mind?
So the issue with trying to rank for blogs is for e-commerce that does not really work. The
Right,
reason why e-commerce brands do SEO in terms of blogs is so that they can rank their product pages and collection pages. So the
right.
more blogs you will write, even from which are pure, beautifully SEO optimized, those blogs are never going to rank. But those blogs are going to send a signal to Google that this brand is an authority on this topic, and they will rank your product pages and collection pages. So that's the first thing.
Okay.
But with Reddit, you can actually rank the content you have on those blogs on Reddit. So the same keyword that you have a blog for, your keyword research, your SEO team would have researched keywords that this
Yeah.
blog, these are good keywords to have. Ask the same questions when it comes to the seeding process. Ask the same questions on Reddit, and your Reddit answer will, especially if it gets enough traction, if you're able to
Hmm.
tell a beautiful story on that Reddit question, that will get ranked within a couple of months, and your blog will probably never rank on the same keyword.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, Simone.
I have one last question. So we spoke about how you use like AMAs. Once you close them, you add your UTM links and your codes, and that's how you're tracking revenue, right?
Right.
I want to understand, is there any way to sort of attribute engagement activities to overall purchases? So if I'm just
It will be
answering with a product plug.
kernel. I'll tell you. So
Hmm.
there's this other SaaS founder which I follow on Reddit, and he made a very nice detailed post on Reddit about. He says that for every 3 upvotes he gets 4 to 5 signups on his app. he was able to derive that for his own business. You once you keep on doing it, you will be able to come up with a formula that for every 100 upvotes we get 5 orders maybe. But that would be very unique to your own business. No way to have this being universal.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That was it from me.
Cool. I have a question. Do you think what we discussed is realistic enough for a brand to actively do? Let's talk a brand at My Muse's scale. You have a dedicated social media team, content team, etc. Um, do you think it would be, and just assume that you will get, if you get the same numbers from Reddit, right? Maybe you make 3 crore rupees in the next 3 years. That's just 10 lakh rupees a month that you're making through Reddit, when done right. And it's not that our Reddit is perfect. I would rate our Reddit as only 6 out of 10, which is why at the beginning of the call I said maybe you can do a better job than we did. So let's assume that that's all you're achieving from this. Is it worth it for you to put in the time and effort? Because for us it was totally worth it. We were a small brand just building ourselves out there 3 years ago. But at your stage, the marketing head is here, the social media head is here, so you would be able to tell us, is this effort worth it for you all?
I would say why I think it's pretty worth it is because My Muse as a company, we also stand for community building. And
Mhm.
this is the best version of it. So, like revenue, I and I, we started our subreddit for our betas with no, you know, even want of like getting revenue out of it, getting sales out of it, or anything. We wanted to go on to Reddit to build a platform where we can talk to like-minded people, learn from the community, and engage with them, and like, give out genuine good sexual education that we know India lacks.
Right.
So since that's our primary objective, I think it's definitely worth it, and any revenue that comes from it is like a cherry on top.
Got it.
Yeah, and just to add on, for sure, this makes a lot of sense for Magnus, but even for other brands, I do think that um. So of course, what Simone said is on point. Whatever revenue comes on top of it is additional, but especially for most other brands, what it does give is authenticity and value, which we sort of tend to miss when we are like marketing folks tend to miss because everything is attribution and everything is where is the revenue coming from. But this gives a lot more than like revenue, I think. So definitely, if your plan is to get this out to a lot of other brands, and especially for brands that are serious, this is definitely going to be something that will help a lot of brands for sure, 100%.
Sim-
Because
sim-
not a lot of people understand how to do this, so
Right.
definitely super helpful.
And
Similar to what Arpita said, I think one way it would really help, like when she spoke about authenticity, is generally when you're buying from a brand, you tend to see them as very foreign or outside of you. But when they're actively engaging on platforms like Reddit, you kind of start to see them as like people or like someone that's part of the same community as you and not just a brand. So it adds that, to some extent, it adds that like one-on-one kind of feeling that you may otherwise not get.
okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Personally, my favorite thing about Reddit is its ability to be permanent. If you rank on a keyword, it keeps getting added. The more comments and posts it get, the longer that keyword is going to stay on on Google search results tops, and you'll find answers which are 6 years old, 7 years old at the first position on Google search. So you'll just keep on getting that benefit for years to come. And with the trend shifting, with more and more Gen Z buyers coming into the market, and how much weightage they give to Reddit, I personally am extremely bullish on Reddit as a platform.
100%, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Cool. So let's wrap this. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, My News team, for your time. And it was really fun. This is the
Absolutely
first time.
not. Yeah, Ritesh, you found literally an hour and a half for us. This is super. This has been super interesting, and all of us have been struggling to sort of figure out what to do on Reddit, what not to do on Reddit. This was super interesting. Thanks a ton, both of you, for spending time on this, and like really great session.
Thank you so much.
Seriously, yeah, learned so much, honestly. It's
Yeah.
really helpful.
Glad to hear that. Thank you, Simone, Arpita, and Jamie. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you
Awesome.
guys. Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.